Right now, sitting on millions of nightstands and, kitchen counters around the world, is this 3.5-inch deep-sea blue sphere.
Yeah, and you look at it sitting there and it just looks like a cheap, I don't know, $50 digital alarm clock.
Exactly. Maybe a harmless little Bluetooth speaker. But inside that soft fabric shell is actually a hidden temperature sensor, a localized mesh network router, and a direct, always-on pipeline to some of the most massive AI server farms on Earth.
It's really the ultimate illusion of modern industrial design. I mean, the goal is to make you see a simple speaker when in reality you're looking at the very tip of a global technological iceberg.
And breaking down that illusion is our mission for you today. We're taking a highly specific artifact of modern life, the 2022 Amazon Echo Dot, 5th generation battery.
Specifically that deep sea blue model, right?
Right, the deep sea blue one. And we're going to completely dissect it. We've got a massive stack of sources for this deep dive.
Huge stack.
Yeah, we are talking about the complete Amazon product listing, the technical specifications, the sustainability data, the comparison charts, and really the absolute gold mine, the raw data from over 186,000 customer reviews.
And that review data is where the reality of the product really collides with the marketing, because a smart speaker hasn't actually been just a speaker for, well, a very long time.
Yeah.
It operates as an access point. It's a physical gateway into an ever-evolving ecosystem of artificial intelligence.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Oh.
Before we even look at the physical hardware of this little blue sphere, we have to understand the mind of the device.
Yeah.
The intelligence operating behind the scenes.
Right.
And honestly, just looking at the specs, the pricing model tells a fascinating story all on its own.
Oh, absolutely. It tells you exactly what the true product is, because the Echo Dot itself is priced at $49.99, but you have to stop thinking of that $50 as the cost of the hardware.
Right, it's not just a speaker purchase.
No, it's essentially an admission ticket to what Amazon calls Alexa Plus.
And the product page touts Alexa Plus as Amazon's smartest AI assistant to date. But full access to Alexa Plus is only included for free if you already have a Prime membership.
Which is a big caveat.
Huge. If you're a non-Prime customer, the Alexa Plus standard plan is $19.99 every single month. Plus, you need a US-based Amazon account, and your device has to be set to US English.
Which fundamentally changes the math on this thing. I mean, you are buying a $50 speaker, but you might end up paying $240 a year just to make it smart.
Wait, hold on. Let me challenge the value proposition of that hardware for a second.
Oh, for it.
Because I'm looking at the comparison chart in our sources, specifically the internal processors. The high-end $219 Echo Studio uses something called the AZ3 Pro processor.
Yeah, the heavy hitter.
Right. And the $99 Echo Dot Max uses the standard AZ3. But this $50 5th Gen Dot, it just uses a standard MediaTek processor.
Yep, it does.
So if this device has a vastly inferior processor compared to the premium models, is the AI actually smart on the device itself? Or is this little sphere basically just a cheap microphone whose only job is to relay my voice to a server somewhere else?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, that is precisely the architecture of ambient computing.
Okay.
The true product being sold here isn't the plastic and fabric sphere. The product is the Prime ecosystem lock-in.
So the device is just a vessel.
Exactly. The heavy lifting, the complex cognition is not happening on that MediaTek chip on your nightstand. That little chip is really just handling basic reflexes.
Like waking up when I say the name.
Right, like recognizing the wake word, Alexa.
Yeah.
Once it hears that word, its primary job is just to compress your audio and send it away. The actual processing power, the brain, lives in Amazon's server farms.
I love that distinction. If Amazon's cloud is the brain, then that basic MediaTek processor is just the spinal cord.
That's a great way to put it.
It handles the split-second reflexes, but the deep thinking travels all the way up the network. But, I mean, a brain trapped in the cloud is useless unless it has a way to actually feel and understand the physical reality of your home. It needs sensory organs.
And Amazon has packed a surprising amount of sensory equipment into a 3.9 by 3.9 inch footprint.
Let's start with the loudest sense, the audio. It features a 1.73-inch front-firing speaker. Amazon brands this as vibrant sound, promising clearer vocals and deeper bass than the older, those hockey puck-shaped generations.
Yeah, the flat ones.
Right. But the speaker is almost a distraction from the hidden senses, because this thing is built-in indoor temperature and motion sensors.
Which represents a massive shift in how we interact with machines.
Yeah.
We are moving from reactive computing, where you have to push a button or ask a screen to do something, to proactive computing.
Where the room just reacts to you.
Exactly. The room knows you're there.
There's actually a review in our data from a customer named Dan T that captures this shift perfectly.
Hmm.
He specifically praised that hidden temperature sensor.
Oh, the fan routine, right.
Yes. Instead of waking up realizing he's sweating and asking Alexa to turn on the fan, he just set a routine. When the room hits a certain temperature, the fan turns on automatically. It happens entirely in the background.
Which is amazing.
Though, ironically, Dan also pointed out a very low-tech physical feature. He loved the tap-to-snooze function.
Oh, yeah, I love that too.
Right, you don't have to speak to it in the morning. You just physically smack the top of the device when your alarm goes off.
It is a wonderfully tactile analog reflex for a device that is essentially a cloud-based supercomputer. But the most impressive physical feature, and the one that fundamentally changes what this device is the Aero integration.
Now, this is the part that legitimately confused me. I
Mhm.
spent hundreds of dollars on a dedicated Wi-Fi router that looks like a plastic spaceship with 6 antennas sticking out of it.
They all look like spaceships now.
Right. So how is a $50 fabric ball doing the exact same job?
It is a brilliant piece of network engineering, really. If you have a compatible Aero network in your house, this little speaker acts as a Wi-Fi extender.
Wow.
It adds up to 1,000 square feet of coverage. It supports speeds up to 100 megabits per second, and it can handle up to 10 connected devices simultaneously on a 5 gigahertz band.
So going back to our analogy, if the Echo Dot is the nervous system of the house, it isn't just sitting there waiting to play a podcast. It's feeling the temperature of the air. It's sensing physical movement when you walk into the room. And it's literally stretching the invisible internet connection into the dead zones of your house.
And to appreciate how they pulled this off, you really have to look at the networking specs. It's running dual-band Wi-Fi supporting the 802.11ac standard alongside Bluetooth low-energy mesh and Matter compatibility.
Okay, translating that for us, how does that actually work in practice?
Right, sorry. Think of the 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi band like a sports car. It's incredibly fast, but it doesn't handle off-roading well.
Meaning it can't go through walls.
Exactly. It struggles to punch through thick walls or floors. By putting an Echo Dot in your bedroom, you are essentially putting a mini cell tower in that room that grabs the signal and rebroadcasts it locally.
Oh, that makes sense.
And that Bluetooth low-energy mesh. Think of it like a bucket brigade. Instead of every smart bulb or smart plug in your house trying to shout all the way back to your main router, they just whisper the command to the Echo Dot right next to them, passing the signal down the line.
That's wild.
To take that kind of complex, enterprise-level routing infrastructure and disguise it as a bedroom alarm clock, it's just incredible design.
But extending that network brings up a massive implication. I mean, if this device is acting as a mesh node, stretching internet throughout my property, whose data is actually flowing through it?
Right.
Which forces us to look at the invisible web this device creates and the inevitable tension around privacy.
Because to make all this magic happen, the device has to constantly communicate. And that introduces a feature called Amazon Sidewalk.
I have to grapple with Amazon Sidewalk for a second.
Yeah, it's controversial.
Because the specs outline something that sounds wild to me. Sidewalk uses a small portion of your home internet bandwidth to keep other supported devices connected, even if their own Wi-Fi drops.
Yep.
And it helps find lost items like trackers or pet collars for your neighbors by reporting approximate locations. And the real kicker, it is turned on by default.
It is.
You can dive into the app settings and turn it off, but out of the box, my internet bandwidth is being sliced off to help my neighbor find their lost keys. Wait, my internet is helping my neighbor find their lost item.
That is the exact mechanism. It creates a low-bandwidth, neighborhood-wide mesh network. Amazon slices off a tiny encrypted fraction of your bandwidth.
So they can't see my data.
No. Your neighbor can't see your search history, and you can't see theirs. But if their dog runs away wearing a compatible tracker and it runs past your house, your Echo Dot silently catches that signal and pings the cloud with the location.
The tension here is just fascinating. Because on one hand, Amazon explicitly highlights their privacy features in the marketing.
They push it hard.
Very hard. The specs point out a physical, built-in mic off button that electrically disconnects the microphones. They give you a privacy dashboard to view and delete your voice recordings.
Right.
They include a clear, written statement saying Amazon is not in the business of selling your personal information to others. They hand you all these tools to lock down your personal data, but simultaneously, they default you into a neighborhood-wide data sharing network.
This raises an important question, though. What is the true cost of a seamless smart home?
Yeah.
We constantly negotiate the trade-off of modern convenience to get that magical experience where your outdoor lights never drop connection, where everything just works without you troubleshooting a router. You have to participate in a collective data environment. You're opting into an ecosystem that relies on the crowd.
And it's not just the digital environment they're managing, it's the physical one too.
Yeah.
The product page leans heavily into sustainability to build that consumer trust.
Right, the carbon messaging.
Exactly. The device carries a carbon trust reducing CO2 certification. Amazon highlights a 41% reduction in outbound packaging weight per shipment since 2015. They claim that equates to over 2 million tons of packaging materials saved.
Which is undeniably a positive metric for the planet, but it serves a vital purpose in the corporate narrative.
How so?
They want you to feel entirely comfortable bringing a listening device into your most intimate spaces. The messaging is, it's green, it protects your privacy, it helps your neighbors. Every piece of that narrative is designed to reduce friction and lower your guard.
But stepping away from the corporate spec sheets and the perfectly crafted marketing narratives, what actually happens when millions of these blue spheres end up in real homes?
That's where the rubber meets the road.
Right, because a product is never what the manufacturer says it is, it's what the users experience. So let's dive into the raw data, those 186,831 customer reviews.
The first takeaway is that the friction reduction strategy absolutely works. The overall sentiment is overwhelmingly positive, with 82% of those ratings sitting at a full 5 stars.
People genuinely love this device. A massive point of praise is the setup process, which Amazon literally brands as frustration-free setup.
They trademark that, yeah.
There is a review from a user named Conchetta's Trove that illustrates this perfectly. She bought the device and was blown away that it was pre-configured to her Wi-Fi network. She noted that it literally knew her name before she even opened the cardboard box.
That is the prime ecosystem lock-in functioning at peak efficiency. Because Amazon already knows your home network credentials from a previous device you've owned, they inject those credentials onto the new Echo Dot at the warehouse level.
Oh, wow. So before it even ships.
Yeah, before they even put a shipping label on it, you plug it into the wall and it instantly wakes up connected to your life.
That's convenient, but slightly eerie. The data also highlights some genuinely impressive accessibility features, though. The specs list something called adaptive listening.
I love this feature.
Normally, a smart speaker has a very tight window where it waits for you to finish speaking before it cuts you off, just to save server processing time.
Right, it rushes you.
But adaptive listening gives users more time to finish their sentences, which is incredible for people with speech impediments or cognitive delays, or who just need a second to gather their thoughts.
It's life-changing for some people.
There's also a preferred speaking rate to make Alexa talk faster or slower, a Kindle read aloud function, and a notify when nearby feature that plays a subtle sound when a person is detected near the device.
Those aren't just neat tricks, they are vital, inclusive design choices. They show a real commitment to making ambient technology usable for people navigating varying degrees of vision, hearing, or mobility needs.
Yeah.
In many of these reviews, it isn't viewed as a speaker at all. It's an essential assistive device.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. Because despite all that brilliant engineering and accessibility focus, there's a massive critical flaw hiding in the user experience.
Yeah, this was rough to read.
We found a highly detailed review from an account called the Reed Family. They gave the device 4 stars, so they were generally satisfied, but they outlined a terrifying oversight.
The Reed Family review should be required reading for hardware engineers everywhere. It is a perfect case study in design blind spots.
Here is the scenario they laid out. They bought a few of these Echo Dots for their elderly mother. The specific goal was to utilize the Alexa Emergency Assist subscription.
Right, which is an extra fee.
Right. It's a paid service designed so she can call for help using only her voice if she falls or has a medical emergency. But they pointed out 2 huge problems. First, there is no default audible ping when you say Alexa to activate it.
Right, it just lights up silently.
Exactly. So an older user with poor eyesight doesn't actually know if the device heard them unless they can see the little blue light ring turn on. But the second issue is the real safety flaw. There is no wake word locking.
Meaning anyone at any time can change the specific word that wakes the device up just by asking it to.
Right. The reviewer pointed out that visiting children can easily and entirely accidentally change the wake word from Alexa to something else entirely.
It's just a voice command.
So play out that scenario. The elderly mother has an emergency. She falls. She shouts, "Alexa, help." But the device just sits there. It does nothing. Because the day before, a grandchild thought it would be fun to change the wake word to computer or Echo, so the emergency lifeline is dead.
That is terrifying.
How does a multi-billion-dollar tech company build an entire paid emergency assist infrastructure marketed specifically for elderly safety, but completely forget to add a basic parental lock to the wake word?
It happens because of who is sitting in the room when the product is designed and what behaviors they are optimizing for. This is what happens when technology is built for the average user.
Okay, unpack that.
The engineers are optimizing for convenience. They want to make it as frictionless as possible for you to change the wake word if you prefer a different name. But true inclusive design requires looking past the average user and examining the edge cases.
Right.
When you market a piece of hardware as a life-saving routine monitor for the elderly, a playful feature like frictionlessly changing a name suddenly transforms into a critical vulnerability.
And while that design blind spot was the most striking critique we found, it wasn't the only issue real users faced. The data shows that 856 customers specifically complained about connectivity drops.
Oh yeah, lots of Wi-Fi complaints.
So despite the fancy Arrow built-in mesh networking and all those enterprise-level specs, the Wi-Fi connection still fails for a noticeable chunk of people. And there was a massive wave of complaints about the free music service.
The ads.
The ads. Users absolutely hated how aggressively ads interrupted their listening experience if they weren't paying for the premium tier.
Which brings the entire deep dive full circle right back to the economics.
Right.
The hardware is $50 because the true cost is extracted over time. It's extracted through your subscription fees for Alexa Plus, or your data sharing for Sidewalk, or your attention being sold to advertisers on the free music tier.
So what does this all mean? We started this deep dive looking at a simple deep sea blue 3.5-inch fabric sphere, just a little clock on a nightstand. But what we found is a highly complex, aggressively expanding ecosystem. It is a $49.99 speaker, yes, but it is also an indoor temperature sensor triggering your fans. It's a bucket brigade Wi-Fi extender passing signals through your walls. It is a neighborhood lost and found node.
A medical alert system.
An emergency monitor for an elderly parent, exactly. And it's all powered by a humble MediaTek spinal cord on the inside and a massive globe-spanning cloud AI brain on the outside.
Being an informed consumer in the modern age means looking past that soft fabric exterior. It means understanding the mechanisms at play.
Right.
When you bring a device like this into your home, you're literally integrating your physical living space with a corporation's digital infrastructure. You're sharing your bandwidth through Sidewalk. You are relying on distant servers to process every timer and temperature check. And you're trusting a tech giant to maintain the incredibly delicate balance between immense convenience and absolute privacy.
It fundamentally changes how you look at that little blue ball. And that leaves us with a final thought for you to mull over as you look around your own home. The Echo Dot is masterfully designed to fade into the background. It has no screen to demand your attention. It extends your Wi-Fi silently. Even its carbon footprint is minimized on paper, so you don't feel a second of guilt buying it.
Out of sight, out of mind.
But as technology becomes more invisible and more ambient in our daily routines, do we risk forgetting it is there at all? When a device is permanently listening to the temperature, sensing your physical motion, and waiting for your voice 24/7, who is really adapting to whom?
That's a great question.
Is the smart home adapting to you, or are you slowly, silently adapting your life to the smart home?
That is the defining question of the ambient computing age.
Thank you so much for taking this deep dive with us today. Keep questioning the things that seem simple, and we will catch you next time.